Good morning, students. So let's start with the next topic, that is the design of two-way slabs. Two-way slabs. As I have already told you, two-way slab is the slab in which Ly by Lx is less than 2. Okay, that means it is a slab in which both the dimensions are important. That is, now the shorter dimension will be written as Lx. I have already told you in the previous class also, Ly will always be taken as the longer dimension. Now when the load is acting on this slab, what will happen? The slab is going to deflect in the x direction as well as in the y direction. So you cannot consider or you cannot neglect the deflection of this particular slab. Like in one-way slab, we used to consider, this was our one-way slab, and we used to consider when the load was acting, we used to consider that the deflection is primarily occurring in this direction only. So that's why we considered this as one-way slab and this is a two-way slab. Okay. So if let us say to bear the load of this slab, we provide the beams at the outer edges. So let us say the beams are provided here. And then the distribution of the load due to this particular, it will be like a trapezoidal distribution of the load. What do I mean by this? Let us say the load on this particular slab is in kilonewton per meter square. I want to find out how much is the load that is transferred on this particular beam. On this beam, the load of the triangle will be considered as transferring on the beam. How much is the load transferred on this beam? On this beam, we will consider the load transferred from this trapezoid onto the beam. Similarly, the load that will be transferred on this particular beam will be this one. And the load transferred on this beam, it will be this. So the distribution of the load from the slab to the beam will be taken as this particular way of distribution. Whereas in one-way slab, the distribution of the load is taken as, we take the center of that slab, half of the load is transferred to this beam and half of the load is transferred to this beam. We do not consider any load transferred here. No load is transferred at this end, no load is transferred at this end. This is although not required at this point, it is just how the load is transferred from the slab to the beam. Now coming to how do we design a two-way slab. The design of two-way slab is done by using the codal provisions given in annexure D. What does this annexure says? It says that the two-way slabs spanning in two directions can be taken as restrained slabs and D2 is simply supported slabs. So design of two-way slabs is divided into two categories. One is simply supported and second is restrained. Today I will be discussing how do we design a simply supported two-way slab. What do I mean by simply supported two-way slab? It means, let us say I have columns or I have walls on these four sides. So this is a wall, this is a wall. On all the four sides I have walls, and the slab is simply resting on these 4 walls. And the slab is simply resting on these 4 slabs. There is the walls are not continuing to the next story. So it means it is a simply supported slab, is simply a single story slab resting on that particular walls. Whereas what will be a restrained slab? Restrained slab will be a slab that is restrained at the corners by having a support or by having a parapet wall at the top of it. So restraint is when the restraining is provided to the slab. I will discuss it in the next lecture. First of all, simply supported is the slab that is simply resting on the 4 sides, on all the 4 sides, by either by the beams or by the walls. Okay. So what are the design steps? Design steps are primarily similar kinds as we have done it in one-way slabs. So, design steps. I hope you remember the first step was finding D from serviceability criteria. Serviceability criteria. And what was that serviceability criteria? It was D was decided based upon the value of L by D ratio. And how do we take L by D ratio? We know for one-way slabs we used to take as, if it is a simply supported slab, it was 20 into a modification factor. If it is a continuous slab, it was 26 into a modification factor. If it was a cantilever slab, it was 7 into a modification factor. And this modification factor used to vary from 1.2 to 1.5 depending upon your requirements. We generally took, for simply supported slabs, we took this value to be 25. For continuous, we took this value to be 30. For cantilever, we generally took this value to be nearly 10. Okay. Now, what does the code says for two-way slabs? The code says that for two-way slabs, we'll take this particular criteria if Lx is greater than 3.5 meters or if live load is greater than 3 kilonewton per meter square. Now, there is a clause 24.1, page 39. Okay, I am opening that clause. Yes. It says the provisions of 23.2 for beams apply to slabs also. So whatever provisions I wrote here, they apply to slabs also. But then it is written in note, for slabs spanning in two directions, the shorter of the two spans shall be used for calculating the span to effective depth ratio. I have already told you that all the calculations for the slabs will be done for the value of Lx. For two-way slabs of shorter span up to 3.5 meters, okay, the span to overall depth ratios given below may generally be assumed to satisfy vertical deflection limits for loading class up to 3 kilonewton per meter square. What does it mean? I am defining it. It says for slabs having shorter span up to 3.5 meters and live load is less than or equal to 3 kilonewton per meter square, then we will take span by overall depth. Mind it please, it is not the effective depth. Over here it is talking about overall depth. It is taken, span to overall depth ratio is taken for Fe 250 it is taken if I am having a simply supported slab. If I am having a simply supported slab, this value is taken as 35. If I am having a cantilever slab, this value is taken as 40. Whereas the code further says if we are having Fe415, then this value is multiplied by 0.8. So the net value becomes 28 here. This value when multiplied by 0.8, it becomes 32. So what do I mean by this? That I'll be taking the value of effective depth, by using either this particular system or by using this system. When will I be using this system? I'll be using this system when my LX is less than or equal to 3.5 meters and live load is less than 3 kilonewton per meter square. Then I'll be using this criteria to get the value of overall depth. Whereas if it is not that, then I'll be using this criteria to get the effective depth. Is it okay? Clear? Then the next step is find LX and LY. Either it is given to you. If it is not given to you, if the clear spans are given, we will find out LX and LY. What is the third step? Find factored loads. All the steps are nearly the same as we have done it in one-way slabs. Factored loads was dead load, live load. So dead load was self weight. Live load was live load plus floor finish load, etc. and all those things. Okay. Now what is the fourth step? Find out design moment. Find design moment. Now over here the system changes. What does the code says? That for finding out design moment, we will be using criteria given in clause D2 for simply supported slabs, that is for unrestrained slabs. Okay, and we'll be using criteria D1 if it is a restrained slab. So today I'll be doing simply supported slabs, unrestrained slabs. So I'll be using criteria D1. Okay. Now once you have done this, your next step will be find, determine reinforcement in both the directions now, in X direction and in Y direction. Then after that, once you have found out the reinforcement, then the next steps are exactly same as we have done it in one-way slabs. Check for deflection. Next will be check for shear. All these checks are same. Now before finding out reinforcement, over here at this point you can do an additional check, that is check for the depth provided. Check for the depth provided. I think you remember how did we make that check? It was done with respect to the strength criteria. That is, we will compare M with 0.148 FCK BD square. If it is Fe250, we will compare it with 0.138 FCK BD square. If it is Fe415, and we will compare it with 0.133 FCK BD square for Fe500. If this depth that comes out to be less than d provided, then we will say the system is okay, the provided depth is okay. So the question is pretty simple. No confusions. Only thing is the moments are not to be taken from WL square by 8 and other values. The moments are rather to be taken by using clause D1 or D2. Okay. Now let's start with the question. The question that today I'll be doing is, design a simply supported slab. Design a simply supported slab to cover a room with internal dimensions 4 meter by 5 meter and resting on 230 millimeter thick brick wall. Live load is given to be 3 kilonewton per meter square. Floor finish load is given to be 1 kilonewton per meter square. We are using M20 concrete and Fe415 steel. Now there is important thing that is written. It says slab corners are free to lift up. This is an important thing that tells you it is a simply supported slab, and exposure condition is given to be mild exposure. This will actually tell us what value of cover is required to be taken. Is it okay? Now what do we mean by this clause? Slab corners are free to lift up. What does it mean? Slab is simply on the walls on 4 sides. These are the walls on 4 sides, and then once the slab is loaded, the corners at this particular position, they are free to lift up. So you can see that if this is my slab, the corners, when the load is applied, the corners will lift up. Okay. Now in this question, Lx is the shorter span given to be 4 meters. Ly is given to be 5 meters, but both are given as clear spans. Now for doing any calculation, we need to find out how much is Lx and Ly. Now let us say we are talking about Lx. It is the effective span, and we know the clause for effective span is clear span plus effective depth, or center to center distance, minimum of the two values. Again, for using this clause, I need to know what is the effective depth. I do not know this, so initially I'll assume a value of effective depth. Let us say I'm assuming it to be 150 millimeters. So therefore, Lx will come out to be 4000 plus 150. We will refine this value further, but for initial calculations we need to have these values. It is 4150 millimeters, or center to center distance, that is 4000 plus 230, that is 4230, minimum of the two. Therefore I'll be taking it as 4150 millimeters. Okay. Now what does the clause says to find out effective depth? Your first step was assume effective depth. The clause said, I have already told you in the steps, that if Lx is 415 meters, it is greater than 3.5 meters, then Lx by d will be taken as 20 into a modification factor. This modification factor, let us say I am taking it to be 1.5. Therefore, that is 30. Therefore, it becomes 4150 upon D is equal to 30. D is coming out to be 138 millimeters. Therefore, let us say I am assuming D to be 140 millimeters. I am taking, let us say, the effective cover of 25 millimeters. Therefore, total depth is 165 millimeters. Okay. Now I'll do the refined values of, changed values of Lx and Ly. Now Lx will be clear span plus effective depth, that is 4000 plus 140, that is 4140 millimeters. Similarly, how much will be Ly? It will be clear span for Ly plus effective depth for Ly. Now, in order to understand this, how much will be effective depth for y-axis? See, what we have done is, we have said that this is total depth, that is 165 millimeters. Okay, this is the major reinforcement that we have provided, and this is the reinforcement in the other direction. We have taken a cover of 25 millimeters. Therefore, the value of dx will be till the center. This is coming out to be 140 millimeters. But what is dy? It is the value till the center of the reinforcement in the y direction. Now, to reach this center from this particular 140, I need to minus half of the radius of this bar plus radius of this bar. So if I am, let us say, using 10 mm dia bars, this particular will become 140 minus 5, that is 130 millimeters. Therefore, dy is 130 millimeters. Therefore, Ly becomes clear span, that is 5000 plus 130, that is 5130 millimeters. Okay. Now this is the step. After that, we have found out the values of the spans and the effective depth, overall depth. Next is find factored loads. Factored loads. It includes the self weight, that is 25 into the overall depth, that is 0.165, 4.13 kilonewton per meter square. Live load is 3 kilonewton per meter square. Floor finish is 1 kilonewton per meter square. Therefore, the total load is coming out to be 8.13 kilonewton per meter square. Factored is 1.5 times 8.13, so it is coming out to be 12.2 kilonewton per meter square. Okay. Now the third step, this is very important step because this is where the difference lies in one-way slabs and two-way slabs. Now this says find out design moments. The design moments, because it is a simply supported slab where the corners are allowed to lift up, it will be taken from clause D2. From clause D2. What does that clause says? Clause D2 says that moment in x direction is to be taken by using this formula. Moment in y direction is taken as alpha y w lx square. Okay, and so the moment in x direction is alpha x w lx square. Moment in y direction is alpha y w lx square. Mind it please, always we are using the shorter span, that is lx. Even for calculating the moment, along y-axis, where alpha x and alpha y are moment coefficients, and they are to be taken by using table 27 of the IS 456. Okay. Now this table is based on the values of Ly by Lx. If the Ly by Lx value is 1, alpha x is this value, alpha y is this value. Similarly, if the value changes, alpha x and alpha y also changes. Okay. So the moment value Ly by Lx for our question is Ly by Lx. It is 5130 divided by 4140, 1.239, that is nearly 1.24. Therefore, alpha x, it lies between 1.24 is between 1.2 and 1.3. For 1.2 the value is 0.084. For 1.3 the value is 0.093. So it means it will lie from 0.084 to 0.093. Okay. So alpha x is by interpolation 0.084 plus 0.093 minus 0.084 upon the differences between 1.3 and 1.2 to 4 minus 1.2. Okay. So this value is coming out to be 0.0875. Similarly, alpha y will come out to be 0.574. Once you have got the values, moment in x-axis is alpha x WLx square, that is 0.0875 into W is 12.2, Lx is 4.14. So this value mx is 18.3 kilonewton meter. Moment along y-axis, it is alpha y WLx square, that is 0.0574 into 12.2 into 4.14 square. This is coming out to be 12 kilonewton meter. Okay. So both the values have been obtained. Now the next thing is, this was step number 3. So step number 4 is checking for the effective depth. Check for effective depth as per the strength criteria. Okay. So this is based upon the formula m is equal to 0.138 FCK BD square. Moment we will take it as a larger. If it is okay for the larger moment, it will definitely be okay for a smaller value of moment. So I will be taking 18.3 into 10 raised to power 6, 0.138, 415, 1000 into d square. D is coming out to be 17.87 millimeters. You can see from the strength criteria the value of depth is very low. So it is obviously less than D provided. That's why we say that always the depth is found out by using the stiffness criteria, by using the deflection criteria, because that is more critical in the case of depth. Okay. Now next step is, once you have checked it, you know the moments, you will find out reinforcement in both x and y direction. We have been using the formula, that is moment is equal to 0.87 as AST D 1 minus Fy by Fck AST upon BD. It used to be a quadratic equation. Solving that quadratic, we used to get the value of AST. Now if I rearrange the terms, I will not have to then use the quadratic. The value of AST can then directly be obtained by using this equation. Fck upon Fy 1 minus root of 1 minus 4.6 m upon FCK BD square B into D. So this is no new formula. This is just rearranging the terms that were used in the upper equation. Okay. So if I am using this equation, I can find out how much is area required in x direction. It will be 0.5, FCK is 20, this is 415, 1 minus root of 1 minus 4.6, moment in x direction is 18.3 upon 20 into BD square, 1000 into D is 140 for x direction. For moment in x direction, D is 140 into 1000 into 140. Solving this, AST in x direction is coming out to be 382 millimeters square. Okay. Similarly, ASTY, the same formula, only the values for y direction will be used. 1 minus 4.6. Now the moment in y direction is 12. Rest all the values are same. Depth in y direction is not 140, it is rather 130. So I am using these values. I am getting ASTY as 266 millimeters square. Okay. Then I'll find out the spacing in x direction. I hope you remember the formula. It was area of 1 bar upon area required into 1000. Let us say I am using 10 mm dia bars. It is pi by 4 into 10 square divided by area required is 382 into 1000. So it is coming out to be 205 millimeter center to center. Let us say I am providing 10 mm dia at the rate of 200 center to center. Therefore, AST provided, it becomes pi by 4 into 10 square upon 200 into 1000. Therefore, it is coming out to be 392.5 millimeter square. Provided is 390.5. This is the reinforcement spacing and this was required. AST required in the x direction. Okay. Similarly, I'll find out how much is the spacing in y direction. In y direction. In y direction, spacing is pi by 4 into 10 square upon 266 into 1000, that is 295 millimeters. So I am providing 10 mm dia at the rate of 290 center to center. AST provided becomes pi by 4 into 10 square upon 290 into 1000, that is 270 millimeter square. Okay. So in this way we have nearly finished the design. Only thing is we now have to do certain checks before we finalize it, because that our diameters, our spacings are okay or not. Okay. So the next step is step 6, that is check for deflection. Check for deflection. It is exactly the same as we have done it in one-way slabs. We know L by D provided. This has to be less than L by D basic into modification factors. These two modification factors are not there. L by D provided is 4140 upon 140, that is 29.6. L by D basic, it is 20. I need to see modification factor M1. And this M1 we will get it from figure 4, page 38 of IS 456. If we'll use this, the value of M1 is coming out to be 1.5. So this comes out to be 20 into 1.5, that is 30. So this is less than 30. Therefore, the system is safe in deflection. You can see it is marginally safe. So that's why whatever is the depth we are providing from the stiffness criteria, that will help us in getting this particular check okay. Okay. Next is check for deflection is there. Next is check for shear. Check for shear. Again we have done this check in one-way slabs. What was the check? We will find out V. We will find out tau V. We will find out tau C from the code by using table 19. If tau C is then changed by K into tau C, if this value K into tau C is greater than tau V, therefore this check will be okay. Now for doing this check, it means I need to find out shear force, I need to find out tau V. Okay. So shear force is WL by 2. Isn't it? So load is 12.2. L is 4.14 divided by 2. This is coming out to be 25 kilonewton. Okay. Tau V is equal to shear force into B into D. That is 25 into 10 raised to power 3 upon 1000 into depth is 140. This is 0.178. Okay. Tau C, it was based upon 100 AS upon BD. So 100 AS is area provided 392.5 upon 1000 into 140, that is 0.28. So tau C, by using table 19, I just showed you the table. Tau C, we see 100 AS upon BD is 0.28. Okay. So 0.28 is lying between 25 and 0.25 and 0.5. We are using M20, so it will lie between 0.36 and 0.48. So we can get the value by linear interpolation again. Okay. So using this, I am getting the value of tau C to be 0.3744. Similarly, again, I'll have to get tau C for slabs because this is tau C for beams. This is equal to K times tau C. And this value of K, I used to get it from this particular clause. It says if the overall depth of the slab is 300 or more, we will take K to be 1. Similarly, if it is different values, we will take to be K to be different values. Now we have overall depth to be 165. So it is between 150 and 175. So we will take the value between 1.25 and 1.3. Let me take the value of 1.28. Okay. So K is 1.28 into 0.3744. It is 0.479. This is greater than tau V. Therefore, the system is safe in shear. Is it okay? So it means the system that we have designed is safe to carry the loads as it is given. Okay. Now, how to draw the reinforcement detailing? This is a very important thing. Now let us say we have this as our slab. This is 5 meter span. This is 4 meter span as the internal dimension. We have 230 millimeter as the as the depth on all the four sides. Okay. Now 4 meter is our main span. This is our main span. Along the main span we have provided the reinforcement as 10 mm dia at the rate of 200 center to center. The code further says that half of the bars are to be bent up. The bent up bars are shown like this. So it is 10 dia at the rate of 200 center to center. Is it okay? Then the reinforcement along the Y direction, it is main steel. Half of the bars are bent up. So it is 10 dia at the rate of 290 center to center. Okay. Then this bent up is to be done at a distance of L by 10 from the face of the support. So nearly it is 414 millimeters. It is from this side it is 525, nearly 525 millimeters, and from this side it is 425 millimeters. The bent up is to be done like this. Now along with that we need to draw the sections. This is section AA. This section I am drawing it here. Now this section is having, see, when you are drawing this particular section, these are the main bars that are cut, that are shown as cut. Okay, that are cut by the section. The main bars are at the bottom. The other bar, that is at the top. Okay, half of the bars are bent up. Clear? So this bar is 10 dia at the rate of 200 center to center. This bar is 10 dia at the rate of 290 center to center. Half of the bars are bent up, and this goes into the support by LD by 3. Okay, this is at a distance of L by 10, nearly 525 millimeters. This is overall depth, that is 165 millimeters. Clear? Now if I draw the section on this side, I make a cut here, I draw this section. I draw this section, so I am drawing the section here. In this case, this is the main reinforcement, this is the secondary reinforcement perpendicular to it. So now this is the main reinforcement, 10 dia at the rate of 200 center to center. This is the reinforcement in the Y direction, that is 10 dia at the rate of 290 center to center, and half of the bars are bent up. Okay, so this is the way we draw the reinforcement detailing. And if you want to look into the code that has all the reinforcement detailing, this reinforcement detailing is given in SP 34, that is Handbook for Concrete Reinforcement and Detailing. Okay, this particular detailing of two-way slab that is not restrained is given in figure 9.2, page 123 of that code. Is that thing okay? So that's all about the design of two-way slabs that is not restrained. Next video will be on the design of two-way slabs that is restrained. Thank you.